When you walk away, you don't hear me say, please, oh baby, oh no. Simple and clean is the way that you're making me feel tonight. It's hard to let it go. Hello everyone and welcome back to the MrEliMac channel. I am your host, MrEliMac, and today I'm going to be doing a new Pitch This video. That's right, and if you know the theme song that I just spoke out to you and a little bit of what played in the intro, you know that I'm going to be doing something related to Kingdom Hearts. And I'm not going to be doing it as a movie because there is no way you can do Kingdom Hearts as a movie. There is completely no way. There probably is a way, and I'm just not thinking about it. But ultimately, in the grander scheme of things, you don't want to do Kingdom Hearts as a movie series. No, 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 no. If you're going to adapt Kingdom Hearts into anything, from video game to any sort of other medium, you want to do it as a TV show, and that is what I am doing. I am pitching you a Kingdom Hearts TV show. And why am I doing that? Because I hate myself a little bit. No, it's really because I'm a big fan of Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts was sort of my first video game fandom that sort of got me into video games very early on, was the Kingdom Hearts franchise. And it was really due to the characters like Sora and Riku and Kairi. Not so much the Disney elements did help, but it was really just the story that they had done for the first Kingdom Hearts game. I mean, I'm wearing my Kingdom Hearts shirt, if that shows how much love that I have for the franchise. And also sort of the second game also helped me with my love for this franchise and these characters. But I'm not just going to wash over any of the video games. I'm going to try my hardest to very much make a show that could very much be plausible and also short enough to where, or like have each season be short enough to where it's like, oh, this is a TV show, it's a believable TV show. And my mindset right now, if I were to do all of them in like how many episodes per season, and I know some people will be like, that's crazy, Eli. There's no way you can do a Kingdom Hearts show in that many episodes. It needs to be longer. Well, I mean, there have been some mangas that have been like huge, that they've been able to do an entire season on 13 episodes. And I'm not joking when I say that. I think there are a few shows that have only been 13 episodes for an entire manga. And if you're hearing me say manga a lot, that's because that's what I'm basing it off of. I am taking very much the core concept of Kingdom Hearts, the video game series, and looking at their manga adaptations or their manga affiliations and just taking the mangas and adapting them. I think the mangas very much helped streamline a lot of the main story of the first games, Chain of Memories, the 358 over 2 days, and Kingdom Hearts 2. Those are really the only mangas that have been released. I know they're currently releasing a Kingdom Hearts 3 manga in Japan, but they didn't really do one on Birth by Sleep and Recoded and Dream Drop Distance. They did novels for them. I haven't read the novels, so I can't give you any sort of information based off of those. But I will try my hardest to adapt each of them into a show. But don't worry, I'm also going to be adding a little flavoring for other stuff. So, to flat out just start off right now, there are a few things I want to say that I'm going to be trying to do. I'm going to be trying to have some of the key concepts of Kingdom Hearts that a lot of fans, even myself, get a little confused about. The thing that I'm going to try to do with the show is try to make sense of the Heartless and the Nobodies. The Heartless and the Nobodies sort of early on made sense, but then as the game series kept on going, the less it started to make sense. Because the concept of the Heartless was very simple, like, oh, these are people that lost their hearts. These are the darker side, the people that lost their hearts. That is the Heartless. But then the Nobodies were, the way they describe them is that, oh, those are the shells of the people that lost their hearts. So the heartless are the people without hearts. The nobodies are the ones that are just the husks of those people. That's confusing a little bit. And so the point that I would try to do is mainly say the heartless are the dark sides of a people's hearts, and when they lose their hearts, that's sort of the shell that we see. That's sort of the part of the person that we see or the darkness of their heart, because if they're taken away by darkness, it makes sense that the darker side of them, of the heartless, are the things that are kept there. And we have the different variations just depending on how much darkness is in a person's heart. If they're like a horrible person that's done so many crimes and are just a serial murderer, maybe, I don't know why I described it that way, but they're different looking heartless. They're sort of like maybe the ones that can fly, the wyvern type heartless. I don't know. There are so many different types of heartless out there that it's hard to just pick one. Like, you there, you're that one. So yeah, those are the different types of heartless, or like that's how a heartless makes sense. It's just the darker part of a person's heart now given physical manifestation. And a nobody is, I'm probably explaining it the way they did, I'm just misremembering how they actually explained it, so I'm just trying to say this is what I think. And so a nobody is sort of, in my opinion, is what the body becomes. Like, once they lose the heart and the body is just there and is non-existent anymore, the body morphs and transforms into this nobody type phase. And sort of another thing that really confused me in the sort of game sphere, in terms of the game, is that once you defeat a heartless and you defeat a nobody, they return, they become one again, and that person's fine. At least that's the way they made it seem like in the games, and I'm very much not for that. I feel like if you defeat someone's heartless and you defeat someone's nobody, then that person should just be gone. Like, that person is now dead. And I think that's sort of the direction that I would go with it, but that way you don't have a lot of people just coming back from being gone for a long time. It ups the stakes a little bit when you're like, oh hey, this person who was a heartless and a nobody, they're gone now. They're just gone. Because you defeated their heartless and because you defeated their nobody, that person is non-existent anymore, because they're just, when you defeat a heartless and a nobody and you wipe them from existence, then they're gone. It just makes sense, in my opinion, that that's what would happen. And also how they do it in 358 over 2 days, it's one of those things of, they describe it as if you use the Keyblade to take out a heartless, their heart goes to Kingdom Hearts. So it's just another one of those things for me where it's like, it makes more sense if they're just gone, if that person is just defeated and no longer in existence. So that's another thing. The second thing I really wanted to address here, and something that I would try to flesh out more and make a little bit more coherent, is the effort of time travel. Time travel is a major story point in this entire franchise, because they take young Xehanort from the past and put him into modern time, or put him into the now time. They take all these different nobodies, take them from their past moment and put them into our current timeline. And I just think to myself, because they didn't, I don't know if they ever explained it, or if they explained it in a way that just didn't make sense. The best way I'm gonna explain it when I put it in the show is just the MCU method of, you took them out of that timeline and now that timeline is starting a different path. It's like, it's just a different timeline right now. And when you put them back, then the timeline is restored. And sort of the way you restore the timeline, and they're even like, I would even specify as, oh, the only way you can send them back is if you defeat them, or if you do something that hurts them so bad that their body is forced to go back to the time. And that's sort of what I would do here, is after a lot of the bad guys in the real Organization 13 get defeated in the Kingdom Hearts 3 season, all of the bodies get shot back to their original timelines. Hence why we get to that point in all of that. So yeah, and the people that get brought back, because another, like with me saying the Heartless, once you defeat the Heartless and you defeat the Nobody, then that just gets, that body should be destroyed. I have an idea of where, at least for some characters, where the certain science is done to force some of the Heartless and the Nobodies to come back together. And it's only for certain characters. It's not for all characters, only for certain characters. Those characters would be Lee, who is Axel and had a Heartless, and the reason why he is someone that would come back is because I would see someone like Ansem, or someone, yeah, like Ansem or Diz, depending on whatever you want to call him. He would create a machine for a certain few of Nobodies that he could tell, like, oh, you still have some goodness in you. So I'm just gonna make a machine that is genetic, that is made to your genetic makeup, to when your Heartless gets destroyed and your Nobody is destroyed, they come here, and then you are regenerated. It's same for Xehanort, who is our main antagonist of this entire run so far. He would be someone that would have the fake Ansem, his alternate self, which was Terra's body with his mind. You know, that little weird timeline. The Terra Xehanort part of him. That would be how, and he started calling himself Ansem. He would be the one that would create that machine for Xehanort, and I would have that be the machine that would be created for a long time and would just be waiting for Xehanort's Heartless and Nobody to be destroyed. Hence why original Ansem got the idea of creating that for Lee, and that would be sort of that makeup of those certain characters. And so now, let me just describe the show for you. Multiple season show. I would have it be, if I were to be the producer or the person in charge of making it, I would have it be done in an anime style to reflect the Japanese elements of the video game series, and also to pay homage to the manga, like have it be in the anime style. That way we can continue that creation and continue that translation. And season 1 would be the first game. Very much. I mean, it just makes sense. That would be the first game. There are only a handful of characters that would really need to be recast, and those characters would be the main three of Brain, Sora, Riku, and Kairi. They would be the ones that would be the main recastings in terms of season 1. And it's mainly because, just nothing against Haley Joel Osment or David Gallagher or Hayden Panettiere, but their ages have voiced out of the first game's version of those characters. And so I just think it would be easier to just get newer actors to play these 3 characters. Also, I think potentially getting the cast for some of these characters, like for Aerith, for Yuffie, for Cloud, for those characters, even for Tifa when she comes in the second game in Kingdom Hearts 2, have the actors that played them in the Final Fantasy XVII remake, have them come back to play those characters here. And then for Leon, have the actor who played him in the second game, have him continue to play him in the first game, and then we can continue that stretch. Also have the actor who played Cloud in the remake play Cloud, I meant Sephiroth. Have the person who played Sephiroth in the remake, Tyler Hoechlin, have him come back and play Sephiroth in this little anime show, because I really like that cast and I want them back. For the distant characters, you don't really need to recast, just have them come back, have the actors who played them in the original video games. You can't get Wayne Allwyn or the actors who played Minnie Mouse to come back because they've unfortunately passed, but have the actor and actress who are currently playing them now, have them come in and play Mickey and Minnie, and it's sort of that. And the list of worlds are a lot shorter for the first season, because I didn't write down all the worlds that would be appearing in each show, because there's so many worlds and it's just so hard. And also I don't have every single manga or novel, so I can't do the research properly to get them. But I can say for Season 1, the main worlds that would be appearing is Destiny Island, because of course that's where our main character's from. Disney Castle, because that's where we get the plot with Donald and Goofy. Traverse Town, Wonderland, Olympus Coliseum, Agrabah, Monstro, Atlantica, Neverland, 100 Acre Wood, because that would be just a quick little fun episode. Hollow Bastion, and End of the World. Those would be the main worlds. And maybe I was thinking, again, 13 episodes. Maybe I need to make it maybe like 15 or 16. Who knows? Maybe a 15 episode season per. Yeah. Anyway, moving on to that. But those would be the main worlds that would be appearing in Season 1. Now, Season 2 would be an adaptation of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. And though Chain of Memories is a very sore spot for me, because I never actually was able to finish the game, because I hate the card-based thing that they did in the game, that would be Season 2, and it would be mainly, the main worlds that would appear in it would be Castle Oblivion, because that's the main setting, Traverse Town, Agrabah, Hollow Bastion, Destiny Islands, and Twilight Town. Those would be the main locations that would be in the Chain of Memories, and we would also be telling both sides of the story simultaneously, instead of like how they did in the game, where it's like first you play as Sora and then you play as Riku. Instead, we're doing them parallel. That way we can see them both sort of getting to the main location, where Sora is going from floor 1 going to the top, and Riku coming from the basement going up. It's sort of just that way. We can see both of their journey at the same time. Instead of doing, oh, we're doing one and then we're doing the other. And also, this one could probably be 13 episodes, because it's really only one little manga book. But you just do those at that area for that. And now Season 3 would be sort of probably the interesting one, because Season 3 is not Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm not doing Kingdom Hearts 2 yet. Instead, Season 3 of the Kingdom Hearts show would be Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days. And that would sort of be just... the reason why I have that being Season 3 is because in Season 2 we get introduced to Organization 13. And I really want this season, Season 3, to be where we're fleshing out those characters. Because in Kingdom Hearts 2, we're sympathetic a little to Axel, and we start off as Roxas. And I really wanted to give the audience, like, this is why we're sympathetic towards these characters. And also with one of the main things of like, hey, this is what Riku is doing before Kingdom Hearts 2. And because in Kingdom Hearts 2 we're very much into, oh, he just looks like Ansem, or the main antagonist from the first game, Ansem, Sinker of Darkness, who is not the same Ansem as the good Ansem that's saving Axel. This game and its names. But I very much wanted 358 over 2 days to very much be the game, or the season that's like, hey, we're gonna flesh out the Organization 13 members. That way when we get into the Kingdom Hearts 2 season, we'll feel a little bit more sympathy for these characters, and we can understand these characters a bit more. And so yeah, that's why that's Season 3. And in Season 4, that's when we get to Kingdom Hearts Season 2, and I'm thinking about not doing the Roxas episode, where it's just Roxas doing everything. That's just gonna be one episode. That way we can get like, okay, Roxas, all the stuff that we did with Roxas, one episode, we can just skim, we can just get right through that, and now we're into back with Sora. We get through all of that character stuff with Sora. But anyway, I don't know exactly what worlds specifically we'd be featuring. I just know Destiny Islands and the World That Never Was and Twilight Town are major locations for this show. Also, Hollow Bastion is back because that's the main hub. Also, like, we're doing the Battle of 1,000 Heartless. That I can definitely confirm. We would be doing that as its own episode. And I think that would be a fun episode to have for Season 4. And also, I forgot to mention, in Season 1, we would get a scene where it's in the Final Mix video game, and I believe it's also in the manga, where it's just a member of Organization 13 speaks with Sora, and that's our hint at sort of the next phase of the Organization 13, and I believe that was Xemnas. Yeah, because he had the sabers. And Sora had to fight him for a bit. I would still have that moment in this game, that way we can set up the next phase of, or the next season in Organization 13. That's sort of the first 4 seasons of Kingdom Hearts, that show. Season 5 would very much be based on Birth by Sleep. This is when we'd get more of the, hey, this is just the story, this is the origin story, we're going back in time, this is the prequel, and we're getting more of the story of Xehanort, like, explaining, and it would be, I would do it in a way that explains more of like, hey, this is what happened, not before all this, but you can see sort of, I would have all the seeds be planted here of like, hey, You remember this little nugget? This is what's happening. Also, this game takes place, Birth by Sleep takes place 10 years before the events of the first game. So I'm very much being like, hey, this is what happened 10 years earlier, and this is sort of like what led to Sora and Riku and Kairi to their current destinations, and that's why this is very much the Season 5, and this is sort of not the halfway point, but this is the major one that sort of forces more of the characters and more of the major themes that would be happening. And I would also want this to be a darker episode, or a darker season, because of all the elements that happen with Terra and Aqua and Ventus. This is sort of a darker thing. There is a part of me that wants to reskin Roxas. See, I want to reskin Ventus a little bit because I don't want him to look like Roxas, but I understand why they did it. It just will get confusing from my brain if we were to do it if it were to be done as a show, to have two characters that look exactly the same. And goes the same with Sora and Vanitas. I want to reskin Vanitas, or we just never see Vanitas' face, because I think it would just be confusing to see Vanitas and be like, oh, that looks exactly like Sora. So Vanitas may just be a masked character that just happens to have the same voice actor as Sora. But then we get into Season 6, which would be another short season, and it would be, or another like 13 episode season, which would be based off of Kingdom Hearts Recoded, the video game, where it's just a digital version of Sora going into the computer, a corrupt computer, and just trying to save the world and uncovering some of the secrets from Ansem's readings. And we would make that a major plot point. Also, like, the pages of Ansem's reports, notebooks, that would be a major plot point in earlier seasons as well, with the first game and the first season and Season 4. Those would be major plot points also. But Season 5 is Recoded, of them just trying to decode all of those reports and fully get sort of, this could be a lore dump episode, or a lore dump season of just like, oh look, this is all the bad stuff. And this could be a little bit where our major characters like Mickey, Sora, Goofy, Donald, all them, and even Riku and Yensid, where they start learning a little bit more of like, oh, this is the big bad. Xehanort is the big bad. We haven't heard his name in forever. And his Heartless and his Nobody are destroyed, and we're learning a little bit what could happen. Oh no, this is bad. And then we get into Season 7, I believe. Yes, Season 7. But Season 7, where it's Dream Drop Distance, Kingdom Hearts 3D Dream Drop Distance, where we're giving them their entire, trying to get Sora and Riku promoted to Master Keyblade wielders. And again, this is going to be a story where it's just, we're seeing their story side by side at the same time. I understand the mechanic of, oh, only one of you can be in the computer world or in this world at one time, so you really can't have them be told at the same time. But instead of doing that, I'm just taking that rule away, and it's like, no, they can both be in at the same time. They're just doing different things, and they're in at the same time. And so that's sort of what Dream Drop Distance would be. And then Season 8 would very much be the super prequel, aka Kingdom Hearts X. The story, and it would be based off of the novel Kingdom Hearts X, The Story of You and the Keyblade, which would very much be, or this would also sort of be, this would be a two-part, a season of two halves, where the first half is the Kingdom Hearts X stuff, where we're learning more about the Master Keybladers and how the Keyblade War started, to give us more, like, why that's important. And the second half would be Aqua's journey in the Dark Realm and why she's in the darkness and sort of what happened to her during that period. Sort of, so this season is a prequel, another prequel season, but it's telling us two halves of a story. And then we get into the final season, which is Season 9, Kingdom Hearts 3, and it would be very much just telling the story of Kingdom Hearts 3, all of the 7 hearts, or the good Keyblade wielders versus the real Organization 13. I would make the ending less complicated, and I would this would be very much be the main season where I'd make the biggest changes, to where instead of Kairi just getting, like, murked, sort of, she doesn't die. in Kingdom Hearts 3, but instead of her getting hurt and then being whisked away to never be seen again, basically, I wouldn't do that. So instead of her being like beaten and whisked away to where we can't really save her until the DLC, but then the original game ends with her being saved and Sora going away, instead of doing all that, I would just have her be a major point of saving the day. Instead of her being like the damsel in distress, I would have her be a heroic character that is trained as a Keyblade wielder, and she does have some agency. Maybe at the very end, near the end, it is Kairi and Sora working together to beat Xehanort. And I think that would be an interesting dynamic. And maybe have, like, during that battle, have Kairi get beaten and have Xehanort go away to Scala ad Caelum, the Keyblade Graveyard, the final world, where it's Xehanort versus Sora. Like, that Scala ad Caelum would be where Xehanort would run away to where Kingdom Hearts is, but then, like, Kairi is defeated, and that's when Sora has to go into, and, like, I would change it to where Xehanort actually is winning, and he, quote-unquote, wins, and that's when Sora goes into that state of, like, no, I'm willing to sacrifice myself to beat Xehanort, and that's when we get the DLC portion of the story. That's very much where we get that part of Goofy and Donald join him on this mission, but they don't know that he's basically sacrificing himself to save Kairi. And so that's when we get the final battle of Donald and Goofy and Sora versus Xehanort, and that would be how Master Xehanort would be defeated. We'd probably be able to get Christopher Lloyd to come back to play Xehanort, but if this show were to get made after Christopher Lloyd is also deceased, he'd be another character that we'd have to recast. I'm recasting a lot of characters because it just makes sense in the way the story is told. Another thing, I would have Vanitas and Ventus be played by different actors. Nothing against Jesse McCartney, but I don't want him to play two characters, because then that even makes it even more confusing when he's playing two characters that look exactly alike. I don't want that to happen. Or just have Roxas and Ventus be played by the same people. That's just so confusing for a general audience. They wouldn't understand this. So I'm just trying to simplify it. And so that's how we would have Sora beat Xehanort, saving Kairi, but then that's when he would get whisked away. And that's when we would have... I don't know if I would want to do the tease of a Kingdom Hearts 4 game like they did in this one, but if I would have to, if I was forced to, then I would do it. I would tease that, oh, the Dark Seeker saga is done, and now we move on to the next saga, but I'm not going to elaborate what a Kingdom Hearts Season 10 would look like, because I don't know what Kingdom Hearts 4 is. I just know it's the start of a new saga. But very much that is what I would do with a Kingdom Hearts show. I would recast a lot of the characters, that way we wouldn't be confused with some of the stories. I would simplify the Heartless and the Nobodies. I would simplify how time travel works in this game. I would very much just simplify the overall ending of just... Maybe I made it a little bit more complicated by having it like, oh, Xehanort and Kairi are fighting. Xehanort best Kairi, and now he runs away because to him that's the last heart he needs, and he's gonna win. And then Sora decides to sacrifice himself, and Goofy and Donald are with him, but they don't know that he's sacrificing himself, and they save the day, but then Sora goes away, and then we get a tease of what the next story is. I don't know, that's just something, but I very much wanted to try, if I was able to do, like, I don't have to set up the next thing, I would just have it to where Sora is not sacrificing himself. He just goes and he beats Xehanort with Goofy and Donald, and then he saves Kairi, her heart goes back to her, and then the day is saved. Everyone is kumbayaing at Destiny Island, and that's it. That's the end of the show at 9 seasons. I know I'm normally someone that likes to do a nice 10-season series, but with the amount of games that they've made, it really doesn't make sense to make it 10 seasons. But yeah, that's what I would do with Kingdom Hearts. I'm a big Kingdom Hearts fan, and I really think this would be a way to simplify it. They nearly made a Kingdom Hearts show all the way back in 2003. Like, someone made an animatic test for it, and I really liked it. I sort of wish they would have made it, but I understand why the video game people didn't want them to make it, because they're like, we're gonna make more games, and we don't want you to just make the show when we haven't finished our story. And so I understand why they didn't do that. But since the Dark Seeker saga is done, since their story that they were telling from Kingdom Hearts 1 to Kingdom Hearts 3 is done, I don't see why we can't make that into a show now. At least that saga. And maybe if they want to continue it with the Masters saga, maybe that's something that they could do afterwards. But as of right now, I think this is how I'm gonna end it. Not worrying about setting up the next thing. If I had to set up the next thing, then it would just be Sora sacrifices himself, and now like he's in that weird world that looks like Japan, but it's not. So yeah, that's how I would do Kingdom Hearts, the series. What are your thoughts on this mad idea? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Were you indifferent to it? Whatever your thoughts, post them in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit the notification bell. That way you can be notified whenever a new video like this comes your way. But until next time, I've been Mr. EliMac, you've been the audience, and I hope you all have a great rest of the day.